So, taken my S1000R into Balderstones for annual service and MOT, and they lent me this rather nice R1200R 2018 model. Not the camshaft, it's the previous water cooled, so I think 125 horsepower engine. So still with the old screen. I think the version is just about to come out with a new TFT and the camshaft on the camshaft version that the GS has got. But haven't got a huge amount of time. Just got an hour to ride around or so. Just thought I'd do a bit of a mini review, give you a few impressions really of this bike. I've ridden this bike before, and I have to say I've never had a boxer. Had the S1000R for a good few years now. It's a lovely bike, mega powerful. Not exactly what you'd call relaxed, but pretty comfy, you know, compared to a full-on sports bike. And I've not so long had a KTM 1290 GT, which, whilst being a twin, is somewhat more manic than this. This feels very refined in comparison. It doesn't have any of the sort of low rev juddering and rawness like the KTM has. Just feels like a better put together bike, to be honest. BM build quality, can't really fault it. Really amazing how these boxers, you know, they're quite weighty bikes with the engine and the shaft drive, but really amazing how well they carry that weight with it all being low down. I think it's a 170 or 180 rear section tyre, which makes it feel really nimble as well when you're actually on the move. This has got a really, I've found, just from riding around for a little while and parking up, and really nice turning circle. Just dead easy to ride, dead relaxed, and yet still torquey and pretty quick. Obviously not the same insanity like the 1290 or like the S1000R, to be honest, but so probably lacking a little bit top end there in the fun factor, you know, with being down on power, but by no means boring. Seating position is pretty upright. I probably prefer being a little bit more canted forward, to be honest, but that's just me. A lot of people don't. And the seat's very low on this compared to the KTM. As I say, I'm comparing back to these bikes because they're what I've got the most experience of, really. So that's what I can really draw a comparison with, and not everything on the market, but loads of torque for easy overtakes, real nice. It's just in third gear. I'm really interested to try out the camshaft version actually. I've heard that it's even higher on power and torque, particularly low down in the rev range. That's going to be really interesting to test out. I think the other thing on this is not an all bells and whistles version. Actually, I did notice it's not got the cruise control, it's not got the electronic suspension, so it's just plain old standard suspension. So it hasn't got the electronic damping or preload adjustment, but it feels great. It's on what, probably 80 kilos. Geared up. I don't know what sort of rider weight it's adjusted for, but it's just, I don't know, it feels it's very comfy, it's very nicely sprung, and yet, you know, hanging off a little bit around a corner like that, it doesn't get out of sorts at all. It's yeah, it's spot on. Doesn't really dive when you brake hard. Yeah, I don't know how they've quite done it really, but it's just well sorted. It feels really, you could ride it all day, touring, easy bike to ride for commuting. You know, with that Boxer twin, quite relaxed. You know, we're at 3,000 revs, going along at 50. Feels chilled as anything. I just got it on road mode. I don't find the modes make massive difference. I mean, dynamic sharpness at the throttle a bit. Without the electronic suspension on this, doesn't make a vast difference. I don't think on the BMs really. I don't ever much adjust it on the S1000R either, to be honest. I mean, I suppose you've got the safety aids cutting a bit earlier, but if they cut it at all, then you're either going a bit crazy or the weather's bad, and you know, they sometimes help you out. But I find just riding the road around in road mode is more than adequate. Yeah, it's just really relaxed. What's that? Something hunting. I have to say, I'd ridden the Boxers before, when I'd only had 3 or 4 cylinder bikes in the past. I found them a bit boring, to be honest, but I think they're an acquired taste. I think you need to put a bit more miles under your belt on them to really appreciate what they're all about. And I think I've done that now with the KTM, but that's still feeling, I mean, that's just a brutal bike. It's feeling quite raw. And I've had a few issues with it, which I won't go into, but in comparison, you know, the BM's a similar sort of package in terms of the engine character, but without any of the, well, it's just more refined, without any of, say, that low end juddering or it's just more refined and feels nicely put together. This has got up and down quick shifter. I was playing around earlier with the up quick shifter. The up one is not that smooth at all. I tried it at various revs. It seems that on hard on the gas, it's a bit notchy. Sort of mid on the gas, it seems a bit better, which is not really the point. Down the gearbox though, seems to work really well. It gives it a bit of throttle blip. And it's pretty smooth on the downshift. I liked it. One thing that's put me off this and the RS, which I've not ridden yet, but I would like to, and I'm going to give a go, is the analog speedo. I wish it had analog rev counter and digital speedo. It's just they've got it a bit the wrong way around. I mean, I'm not really fussed about this LCD screen. I don't really care, you know. It kind of does the job. I don't need anything fancy. But I was sort of more interested in the newer versions for, well, A, to try the cam shift, but B, to have that big LCD screen as well, which, you know, only really for having a clearer speedo. Don't really care about the rest. The quick shift is not terrible, but downshift on the other hand is just lovely and smooth. I don't know if the mic's picking that up. Really nice. Really easy to manoeuvre, slow speed, really nicely balanced. Doesn't feel heavy at all. It doesn't feel heavy even when you're pushing it around, you know, because all that weight's so low. It doesn't feel like it's ever going to topple over. I used to have a VFR and yeah, that was top heavy. Just, if you got it a little bit off the vertical, it felt like it was going down all the time. Yeah, it's really, the suspension's lovely and composed. It really is. that torque. Just sort of get a second wind about 6,000 revs as well. It's interesting. No real fork dive. It's nice, very nice. And the wind protection from that little bikini screen actually is surprisingly alright. You've got sort of the shape of the front here is giving your legs a little bit of wind protection. I mean, you probably want something if you were going touring for motorway slogs and stuff. But for a lot of the year, it's probably alright. Pretty smooth at the in the 30s, I have to say. I do find that about the S1000R, BM have got ride-by-wire sorted. The S1000, you can ride through 30 limits in 5th gear, it doesn't care. Lovely. What a day! You wouldn't believe it was March, would you? Almost April, but still March. Look at that. It's a nice relaxed ride, it really is. Nice light hydraulic clutch. Not much more to say about the kit on this model, to be honest, or on this version. I should think most people have it quite a bit more spec'd up than this. I think heated grips is about as far as we go on this one, but does the job. I do still wish they did was it telelever or paralever on the front? I can't remember. But the single suspension unit on the front, like you get on the GS still, used to be on this bike. I suppose they've probably changed it for looks, perhaps, or maybe it's cheaper to use conventional forks. And I've read some reviews where it says, you know, conventional forks, the technology being on so many bikes and with a few suppliers to quite a lot of the manufacturers, are as good these days. But I do like that on the GS. I suppose the looks are better on this without it. They used to have like sort of braces along the side on the previous model, didn't they? Not used to that left-right vibration, having never lived with the Boxer day to day. Rear brake on this is very good. So many bikes, the rear brake does next to nothing. Surprisingly strong on this, genuinely useful for actually slowing down, which is normally just a bit of feathering of the rear brake just for manoeuvring or slow speed stuff is about all they're good for, isn't it? But this is actually quite strong. I had to look at it, it doesn't look anything out of the ordinary, so I've no idea why. I mean, I think they're Brembo units on it, but nonetheless. Busy. Nice. Let's do a bit of 70 mile an hour zone. See what it's like. Well, no fairing, so fair old bit of wind blast. Yes, you would certainly need a bigger screen on it if you were going any distance. And cruise control would be nice. I missed the old button just to flick on there, which means that you can just sort of hunker down and relax. RAF wittering, you'll get airbags. Still poodles along nicely, middle of the rev range at 70 miles an hour. Mirrors, no shakiness, nice and clear, unlike the KTM, which they vibrate out at this speed, you can't see anything. So, through the lovely Wansford. We'll see if we can find somewhere to stop just up here. And I'll give you a little look round it. So, there it is. So, 68, so late 2018. As I say, it's got the shaft drive, Brembos, LED indicators on this particular bike. Not really much else to speak of, to be quite honest. Brembos up front as well. Let's say I think it's a single-sided swing arm at rear. An exhaust that looks like it would take quite a bit of polishing. But nice looking bike, I think. I'm very interested to have a go on the RS. Having sat on the RS, it's a bit further canted forward. So as I say, you got the manual preload on this for if you're one or two up, or if you're carrying luggage. But the thing I do like on this, is everything's very accessible. Yeah, nice bike. Looks like it's got a bracket down there for the centre stand, which I guess is optional. With these boxes is because they're quite relaxed in their delivery, you're soon getting a bit of a lick on and you haven't even realised. I've ridden the S1000R, which is obviously quite a bit more powerful, around with plenty of guys on GS's, and so I know they're plenty fast. But I think they're deceptively fast when you're on it. It's, you almost don't realise the speed you do it. It's a bit like being in a modern car, There's the man with the big screen, visor up. Yeah, just a lovely torquey engine, for those overtakes in third or fourth, absolute breeze. No, sorry BM, you can lose that up quick shifter. I had a F800 GT a while back, and that was a really great bike. Really so easy to ride, nice and light. Did a trip across Europe on it. Just for me, a bit underpowered, but if that's the kind of bike you're on and having the same sort of thought, this is definitely this would definitely sort that out. I know it's only 125 in comparison, it's only like 20-35 more, but with all the extra torque that you get with this as well, it's still a nice relaxed ride like the F800. Different riding position, more upright, but F800 GT had the bolt drive. This is obviously shaft drive, so you got the same sort of benefits. Keep forgetting to use the auto downshift. I suppose it's something that you get used to when you've had it for a while and you know it's there. Well, yep, lovely bike. For me, a little bit too upright and want a bit more wind protection, but I shall try the RS. And here we are, back at Balderston's Motor Rad. And there's my S1000. And I do believe Baron Von Grumble's turning up tomorrow, 44 Teeth did. So I should be down here. I think PCAM are down here, who I'm a local member of as well. So if the weather stays like this, it'll be happy days.